my dreams and aspirations were to be on Disney Channel. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be right there with Zendaya. I'm trying to be right there with all the stars on Disney Channel. Like, boy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not watched anything that I've done on stage back. That is too much for me. Prince Topher in Cinderella, that was really fun because I got to be like an iconic prince. I think, especially being a black male, I feel like we've never seen that before, like a black prince,
Yeah.
on Disney or whatever the case may be. So it felt very surreal and felt like a movement that I was being a part of.
It might be AI gets banned. Who knows? Like, it might go
Can
absolutely.
we just give it back to the elites?
Well,
Can we just let the elites have AI and leave it?
I'm scared. I'm scared of that also.
No, for the most part, we're really big on partying. We love partying. We love food. We love cooking. We love dressing big. We are really prideful people.
Yeah.
So a note that I want to leave on: support your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Support, and do it in a genuine manner, and do it openly.
Hello everyone, and welcome back again to the Sonderverse show. Today we have our sixth and final guest of season 2, Garmunee Philips. Today we're going to be talking about his life interests and how he knows Nia and how we got to this point and this conversation, this stream of connections. And yeah, just really interested to hear about all the things that you've got to share with our audience about your background, culture, and what you're doing for plans in the future and all that kind of stuff. So, Garmunee, if you would like to do us all a service and give us an introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you for having me on. Firstly, my name is Garmunee Philips. Yeah, I am a actor, teacher, singer, model, jack of all trades.
Yep.
I actually met Nia through a project that I was doing with Tyler Edward.
Yep.
We were filming a movie together, and he supported and helped a lot with the film as well, with like behind the scenes work, uh videotaping, recording, a lot of those stuff he was helping out with. So that's how I got the opportunity to meet Nia. But yeah, I've been acting for a very long time. Something I'm very passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the opportunity to do it throughout schooling. I actually just graduated from college like 2 months ago with a bachelor in science in elementary education. So that was pretty dope.
Nice.
And yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. Just I didn't give you much to work off of. But.
No, there's plenty that we're going to dive into in this conversation, so it's all good. So yeah, tell me. So you met Nia through. You said 2 names that we've had on the show already. So Tyler Edwards. Was that through the Captive shoot or through something else?
Through Captive, yep. It was through
Yeah.
Captive.
And you, I think the last time I caught up with Nia, he'd just been to the premiere of that, the kind of big kickoff. How did that go down? Obviously, it's really nice to know how, speaking with Nia about that film, that production, hearing Tyler's side of the story. So yeah, tell us a little bit about how you were involved with that Captive. Jump into it a little bit more, and how did that premiere go?
So I got into Captive because I saw the audition posting on Facebook, and we the main character in the movie, actually, she played Nikki. That's actually Tyler's girlfriend, and we went to school together. We're actually in various productions together as well, and that's how I saw that she posted that, and so I auditioned for it, and that was like something we did for a few months. We started filming in, I want to say, October
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and then we were filming all the way up until probably like the premiere. Like,
Yeah.
that was great. It was so surreal. It was comfortable because it was like a small cast. Everybody was so welcoming. Tyler's so great, uh, and the premiere was just so surreal. I don't know if I said that already, but it was just
Yeah.
so surreal because none of us do this outside in the real world on a bigger scale in the industry,
Yeah.
yet. We're all amateurs, we're all, you know, entry level, we're all intermediate. And so I think it was nice having that community where we're all on the same level. We're kind of aspiring for the same things,
Yeah.
and seeing the product from start to finish, like the end results, the outcome was so great. It was so gratifying. Yeah, it was such a great experience. Everybody was great. The experience itself was just great. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine. So is this your? Was it? So you've done acting before. How is this like? Because this was a feature length that Tyler made,
Yes.
over an
Yeah.
hour or so. I can't remember the full runtime. Is this
Like
the
an
first
hour
time?
40.
Hour 40. So is this the first time you've been in something this feature length, or is this your first time into that kind of mix as well?
Yeah, it was. It was. The only film I've done was a small film. I didn't even see that film. Like,
Right.
I recorded it and that was about it. Like, I mean, I
Hmm.
filmed it and that was about it. Like, I don't know where that film went. I think
Yeah.
it went to a festival, but this was the first featured film that, you know, we had 12-hour days,
Yeah.
9-hour days. Uh, we, uh we reshot things over and over and over again. Some of those scenes that only took, like, literally, like, 2 minutes
Yeah.
watching it, it took probably about, like, an hour and some just to film it, you know? So I think it was cool. That's cool, yeah. Well, this is my first this is a lot of the things that I did in this film was the first time for me.
Yeah. That's amazing. And is that something that you want to continue to pursue, or is this something is it something you dip your toe in and you just excited, you make you hungry for something more like that? Or I know you also do theatre as well, so which way are you kind of leaning? Which one do you have kind of more interest in, or are you kind of want a piece of every pie, every piece of cake? You want to have a go at all kind of things?
You know, that's so funny because I feel like originally getting into the arts,
Yeah,
it started with theater, like, I mean, sorry, it started with film. I
yeah,
wanted to be a film actor. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be, as a kid, it was like my dreams and aspirations were to be on Disney Channel. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm trying to be right there with Zendaya. I'm trying to be right there with all the stars on Disney Channel. Like, the Sprouse brothers, and it wasn't until got into high school where I got on stage, I started theater. My first production was The Wizard of Oz, and I was the Cowardly Lion, and that was, like, my first time doing anything of the arts, really,
Yeah,
and so I think it's easier to get involved in theater on stage, but no, it was always, like, film. I always wanted to do film, so this was so nice because this was actually where it started for me, and so it was nice doing something on camera, but, I love doing stuff on stage as well, like, that's
yeah.
great. Uh,
Do
yeah.
do any of your theatre performances get recorded at all, and you get a chance to watch them back, or is it something that you kind of just is one done? Well, no, I imagine I don't know if you do. Have you done it where you've done like multiple showings? Say like The Wizard of Oz, were you in
Yeah.
multiple showings of it, or was it a one shot? Talk us through that theatre side of things as well. Then, like, what is your current portfolio? What were some of the favorite things that you've done, etc.? Where do you want to go next? What are you interested in, etc.?
Well, look, boy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not watched anything that I've done on stage back. That is too much for me. No, I
Yeah,
cannot do that. I think I've I've done I was Zeke in High School Musical. I was Professor Plum in Clue. I was Tom Collins in Rent.
yeah,
I was Dave Robinson in Lombardi. I did Something Rotten. That's a musical, a Shakespearean musical. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I've done a few. I was Prince Topher in Cinderella. I think I would have to say, Clue, Professor Plum and Clue was probably, like, my favorite because it was just a fun play
yeah,
altogether. And then Prince Topher in Cinderella, that was really fun because I got to be, like, an iconic prince. I think especially being a black male, I feel like we've never seen that before, like a black prince,
yeah.
on Disney Channel or whatever the case may be. So it felt very surreal and felt like a movement that I was being a part of. But I cannot go back and watch something that I've done on stage. That's
Yeah.
hard to do. I have them sitting all in my files. They're all on my computer. I need to go make a portfolio so I can,
Yeah.
like, cut them out. I just can't. That's hard. That's hard. That's cringe.
Because yeah, so is it that element of just trying to be willfully blind of how you are on stage? Like, I'm just gonna be in it in the moment. My mind will remember for what it was, but then to
Mm.
watch it back will just be like, oh, is it because you're going to overanalyze it, or again, is it just because
Yeah.
it's like the sense of cringe and embarrassment? Like, I don't want to watch it, like, because I don't want to watch myself because yeah, I don't know
No, I was
which
just
bit
gonna
is
say,
it.
like, think about having, like, a performance and you feel really good about it, and
Yeah,
then you go and you watch the recording and it's like,
ah,
"Ah, dang."
it's
Like,
not as great
yeah,
as I
it
thought
wasn't
it
as good
was.
as I thought it was. Yeah.
Well, trust me, that's me every time because I have to edit my own YouTube episodes, Spotify episodes.
Oh,
So I'm having to watch myself and go through the motions of like, why did I say that? Or why am I pulling that face whilst I'm concentrating right now? So
yeah.
I've experienced that. And I've got sick of my voice so much having to listen to things back. I've probably heard like over 20 plus hours so far of just this one podcast alone. I do another podcast with a friend, so I'm so used to it now, just having to listen to my voice where I've kind of just put it out of my mind. I don't self scrutinize anymore. I used to be embarrassed about it, but it's one of the things where like I think only it's a conversation I had in season one with someone. I think I have the ear now because I do the editing of these kind of
Weird.
things. I know where there's going to be, oh, the audio wasn't great there, or something I said I repeated multiple times, etc. But 95% of people don't pick up on that kind of stuff. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
I've forgotten about it now, and just get by doing what I need to do, going through the process, cutting up all the video, editing it, putting it out there in the world for the world to see. So I imagine at some point once you do delve into that, it will be probably will still make you cringe and you'll probably pick up on things. But I guarantee the more you do it, the more you just feel like, right, I guarantee most
But that's
people
such a
aren't even going to
positive
notice
for
this.
you though, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
it is, and
yeah,
it's a growing process, and I've developed a thick skin on that kind of thing, and I'm
yeah.
highly analytical, highly critical too. But yeah, I imagine once you start going through them, within an hour, first 30 minutes, you'll be like, oh, what's this? Or, oh, what's that? Why did it, what's going on here? But after a while, you'll get pretty used to it, I'm sure. So, how was it watching with the production of Captive? Did you have an on screen part? Were you kind of like one of the actors' dialogue lines, etc.? Or were you I think Nia was more helping out kind of behind the scenes. So were you playing a role within that production as well?
Yes, I was a supporting character. So the main character and my girlfriend in the movie, they were best friends. We're kind of like a trio, you know?
Yeah,
And the whole like girl best friends and the guy best friend, like that's kind of what we were going for, or Tyler was going for. And
yeah,
it gave that, yeah. So I had speaking roles, I had some comedic lines. I would like to say I was the comedic relief
yep.
of the movie. Yeah, so it was the full experience. It was the full on go experience, you know. A
So
little
how
bit of
is it?
stage combat, you know.
Yeah, how was that watching that back then at the premiere? You were at the premiere, right?
Yes, yes.
How was it watching that back for the first time?
I mean, just to recall to the conversation we literally were just having, I remember telling all my roommates at the time, and I was like, "Man, I don't know because it feels good. Everything feels good, but
Yeah,
the 2 things I was scared of the most was lighting.
yeah,
I was afraid that, like, I wasn't gonna be able to see my features and myself properly,
hmm
and I didn't know how to have that conversation, but Tyler and everybody was just very understanding about that, and
yeah,
there were conversations in real time where I can hear him talking, like, he's like, "Oh, we need to make sure we see I wanna see all of him." Like, like, "Okay, we need to fix the lighting here," and so, like, he
yeah,
was very aware of that, and I appreciate as a black man in a predominantly white space, I appreciated that a lot.
yeah.
And, how I sound. Sometimes when I'm trying to sound nice and proper, my pitch just rises up, like, a few
Yeah,
octaves, and
yeah.
so I was like, "I don't wanna go up there and sound like, 'Yeah, Nikki, you need to go,'" so
Go more down the Disney Channel route kind of voice.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so that was what I was, like, I was really scared for that. I was scared that I was gonna sound like a kid and that I was not gonna be able to see myself, but no, like, everything looked very polished. I feel like I looked professional. I was okay with it. It helped me understand a little bit, like, how I look on camera, you know? So that was nice. I love the experience, you know? I didn't sound like I look great. You can see me fully. You can hear me clearly. I had some bass to me, It was nice. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so I guess that's some of that's you, but it's also the supporting cast,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
production crew, and it's kind of really nice to hear that Tyler and many others have taken into consideration um, how you were going to be perceived on set, how you're going to be filmed, etc. And always nice. I know how it feels with the voice thing. Again, having to listen to myself so many times something that I pick up on because in your own head, the way that your voice kind of spreads to your own eardrums is completely
yeah,
different to how a microphone will pick up your voice.
yeah,
Even when I send voice notes on WhatsApp or something like that, I'm like, oh, do I actually sound like that? What the heck? So,
yeah.
and just the quality of microphone, the direction that it's picking you up from, all that kind of thing can play a part. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear there was a little bass in your voice. Hopefully, we can pick that up on the recording today as well. So,
Hopefully, I'm trying to add it in a little bit. I was like,
just hey guys, how's it doing?
"Hey, how you doing?"
So you've done the film acting, going to that foray. You'd like to do more of that in future. You kind of saying any opportunity you would kind of pick that up. Short film, feature film, get more experience in that space. Sounds like you're quite well versed in the theatre world. Is there anything that's in the works at the moment for either a film or a theatre production that you're currently working on? I don't know if you're able to say, not say it, that kind of thing. How does it even work? Like for theatre, I'm guessing it's all applications again, but is there an element? I guess you kind of said through Captive, it was seeing something, it was a connection, and again with the Sonderverse show, the whole ethos is connections and networks
Networking.
and powerful
Yeah.
things. So within the theatre space, film space, how does that work? Is it word of mouth? Hey, we've got this production coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'd like you to come on. We saw you in this. Or is it just blasting out applications for things that you see, either on, certain websites or on social media, etc.?
What I will say, with the world we live in today and technology, everything's online. So
Hmm.
you can find any audition online. Here's the caveat to that. Can you book the audition?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
They might be there, you might see them, they might look so befitting, but like, for example, the Guthrie is, like, a very well-known popular theater out here, everybody wants to get into the Guthrie, and they'll post their audition they'll, like, post but when you get there, when you go to the sign up list, it's probably filled within like the first 15 minutes,
Well,
you know? And so then you have to go to the waiting list and then you sign up for a waiting list. And that's usually how it goes. So you might be able to see the audition, but when it comes to actually like being able to book it, that's where it gets hard. And I think it's definitely easier to get something in the theater world like on stage than it would be to get into a film because when you get into film now um you're talking about different unions and stuff like that and
right.
like what type of membership or credibility you have to have in order to go and audition for this film as
Yeah.
to I can go to the Guthrie right now and audition but I don't have seniority, so
Yeah.
so when it comes to, like, anything I'm doing right now, I haven't been able to find an audition, out here that I want to do that okay, so I found auditions, but none that I actually wanna do. I feel like I like going to places where I just like doing things that I don't like doing things that it feels like, "No, you have to do this as, like, an
Yeah.
entry level, you should." No, I still like roles that I want and I feel comfortable with. I still like to, be in productions of shows that, like, I'm used to.
Yeah.
But, with film, I was contacted about a short film for this summer that has not started yet. That has not gotten to the works yet, but, there's something that is in the works,
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys
Get to see
hear
something
about
new.
that. Yeah.
Cool. I know that Tyler's working on the kind of wider uh kind of release of Captive.
Yeah,
And I know
distribution,
that
yeah.
it was in the local theatre for you or whatever you call them over there. There we call them cinema. I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cinema. So I know that that's one thing. He's also looking at like where could he actually release it so the general public can be more accessible to finding it. And so theatre, that's something that is, I guess, different as well, because theatre's on that night, on that stage, you see it there
Yeah,
and then. Film can be everlasting and immortalized on the digital platforms wherever you end up
yeah,
releasing it, etc. So just because this is a space that I don't really delve into. Film, I'm not doing film now, but I know this kind of digital media, put it online, lives forever, etc. Anyone can find it. But with theatre, I've never really been into theatre much. I've never been to many theatre productions. I have one of my best friends is absolutely obsessed with Hamilton. Like anytime Hamilton is
yeah.
on, she will try and go see Hamilton. I think she's going to London this weekend and spent silly money for the tickets, but is obsessed. Anytime it's available, I think she's got a favorite main actor in it. I want to say he's a black guy too, but I can't remember. But
Wait, in Hamilton?
in Hamilton, yeah, who I don't know if he plays the main guy. I don't know what Hamilton
And
is.
Leslie Odom?
Possibly, yes. Leslie sounds about right.
Leslie Odom Jr.?
Because the same name as my mum, and I think it's similar.
Ah,
So, but yeah, she's obsessed with watching theatre productions. I have seen theatre productions like the more child audience, like theatre productions, maybe what you might call like pantomime. Used to watch them. I went to a theatre production when I was at school, but after that, I kind of ceased kind of watching it. I don't know whether I don't know what about it I'm just not drawn to, but maybe it's the story that I don't get pulled into and as such. I don't know what it is about a film that obviously certain films don't draw me in either. It depends what the topic is, what the story is, etc. I think with theatre, maybe I've just not found the right genre, or right kind of what would you say premise that would draw me in. The dramatized sometimes. I was thinking it's like drama romance as like most theatres.
mm,
So that's what my
mm,
brain always thinks,
yeah.
and maybe that's a stereotype that I'm going down. I know there's obviously there's comedy theatre performances. There's Hamilton makes me think like it's kind of like old schooly, been doing these for many years. But I know I'm getting it completely wrong. But that's just my
Have you
world.
seen Hamilton?
I've not seen Hamilton. We tried to arrange to go watch
Oh,
Hamilton
okay,
locally, but I never
okay.
went to go watch it. So yeah, so theatre it's one and done. It's in this small microcosm of all the people that are there on the night. How does that feel? Whether it does it feel intimate? Does it feel exciting? There's no sense of like you said in Captive, reshoot 2 minutes like every so
Mhm,
often, and the nerves of being on a film set, I guess, still nerve wracking. But again, if you mess a line, you get to redo it. How is it with
yeah,
theatre?
yeah.
Because for myself, I am absolutely shocking at remembering things. Like I can't remember lyrics in songs. I can't, I don't like reading because again, my brain can't really, I don't know what it is about words and stuff. I would be awful at kind of
Uh-huh.
doing a theatre performance, remembering lines, doing all that kind of stuff. How does your brain do that? Obviously rehearsal, but how do you remember all that, remember all the cues, be there live on the night, do everything 100% neat, not mess a line up, etc. How does that happen? Have you just got a natural knack for it?
I mean, first of all, hey brother, I gotta let you know, you need to see Hamilton.
I will see Hamilton, I will.
You need to see you need to see a lot of the newer productions
Right,
because a lot of newer productions are leaning more towards I feel like they're like you said, there's people out there that just aren't theater heads, like I don't want to look at somebody sing and dance on stage and and all love and stuff like that. So they're trying to make it more interesting. And Hamilton's very hip hop based. In the
right.
Heights would be another great one. Rent is like rock based, like, and I think those are like Hamilton, Rent, Hairspray, stuff like that. I think you should go lean more towards that. But
Yeah,
I think when it comes to memory, because you can do it too, I promise you. Because
Right.
when you go to rehearsal, doing something repetitively over and over and over again, and then you're adding dance moves and songs to it, and you're adding blocking, like, hey, when you say this line, you're gonna walk over here. That
Yeah.
all those things are like cues and signals that like let your brain know. And then obviously what you're doing at home. So like I most I feel like most on stage performers, they record themselves doing their lines and then they like go back and forth with the recording. I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of people say they do that. Or if you have a friend, I lived in a house with four other guys,
Yeah.
and out of four, I want to say three of us were like performers, you know.
Right. Okay.
We were all performers, but like actors, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's you have people around you as well doing that. But yeah, I feel like it's just something that you rehearse and you rehearse and you rehearse. And when it comes to being in the moment, I feel like a lot of on stage performers, whether you're singing, dancing, or acting, or even comedian, you're talking, whatever, public speaking, I feel
Yeah.
like you just have a level of empathy that you're able to like read the room, you're able to work off your audience. And that's
Yeah.
something that I, as a performer, as an actor on stage, that's what I do, whether I'm singing or even like modeling or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be. I'm trying to take what my audience is giving me and I'm like letting that drive my performance.
Yeah. So like you've said there about public speaking, even for things like presentations or even public, like speaking to a larger audience, public speaking, I've never prepared a script. I know I might have bullet points in my head of like what I want to talk about. And then I guess my natural knack is that I'm just good at word vomiting stuff that sounds like I've scripted it in a way. Like I could just keep going and talk and my brain will just know what to say next from my bullet points that I have in my head.
Yeah,
But I
that's
could
called
never.
linguistic intelligence, by the way. Mhm.
And is that just because like pattern recognition or something in my head or something like that? Because I can most of this now, like you gave me five-ish kind of things that we might want to touch on today. And I'm just able, I will kind of, as we're going through, like figure out what to say, figure out where the best, link in is, all that kind of stuff. I've not even tried to pre-plan how we're going to talk, have a discussion today. I like it to be completely free flowing. So my brain cannot remember words at all. And I know you say if you do the repetition, I think there's like two songs that I know the lyrics to. One is Chocolate Salty Balls off South Park. And the other one is not all of it, but probably the first half of Look at Me Now with Chris Brown, Busta Rhymes, and Lil Wayne. Like I know I know all of the first Chris Brown bit, I know half of the Busta Rhymes bit, and then a little bit of the Lil Wayne bit at the end. Like that's all it is. I
Hey
think
man, I'm giving you your props for that. That's
I'm
good
not
enough
doing
for me, man.
I'm not doing a rendition right now, but that's only because I think there was a little competition at college of like who could say it, like who could actually do
Yeah.
the Busta Rhymes bit. So I was trying to do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it was difficult. So that's just, I guess, because I did so much repetition and it ingrained in my head. But other things, I like electro music, house music, because there's like five words in it, and then the rest of it's just rhythm. Like I can
Mm,
do rhythm for things and tone and cadence of stuff, but I'm not very good at actual words. And I think that's also a problem for me, maybe like a theatre performance. And like I say, with a film, sometimes, and a lot of the films I watch are like your Marvel films, your Star Wars films. There's also just visual overload and sensory overload. The
mhm.
dialogue is sometimes important, but maybe not as much sometimes. Whereas my brain also thinks like theatre, still there's a lot to see on stage. But again, that story, that the vocal words that are being said, even if someone's singing or if it's a more of a musical kind of theatre performance, my brain
Yeah.
again is not going to absorb that information unless I'm really, really concentrating. Like a lot of the music that I do know that's got lyrics in or like is more the vocal, whether it's either rap because they're kind of talking rather than singing. As soon as it goes into singing, my brain goes into melody mode and listens to the tone rather than
You're more sonic. Yeah, you're
yeah,
fo
yeah, yeah. That's
focusing
how
on the
my brain
sonic side of
works.
it. Yeah.
So maybe even if I went to a musical theatre production, I would still like it. But if someone was like, "What was it about? What was the through line story?" I'd be like, "Don't have a clue," but I really enjoyed listening to it. It was really good, kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I think that's just where maybe I've struggled in the past. But I'm sure that once my friend hears this, you set telling me to go watch Hamilton, I'm pretty sure she will drag me kicking and screaming to go and watch it at some point whenever it's
Yeah.
next
Oh,
on
yeah, you should.
in the UK somewhere. So that's interesting to dive into. So is that something that's is that your career right now, or is that stuff that you do passionately on the side in order to build stuff? Because you've said about teaching as well. So is what's your day job in a way? Is it this alongside teaching, or are you doing teaching like still studying? Tell me a little bit more about what is your main focus currently right now.
Right now, so I just graduated college, like I just said.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in like a transition period,
Hmm.
phase where as of right now, I'm staying with my parents.
Yep.
So I'm looking for an apartment. I just accepted a job offer at
Yeah.
elementary school, and so teaching is my, like, profession. Teaching for
Yes.
sure, like, that's what I went to education is what I went to school for. That's where I'm going to make as of right now, is how I'm gonna make money. I also serve, I would love to say serve and bartend, but I'm a horrible bartender, other than the conversation, but
Yeah.
I can't remember how to make drinks, like, that bartending is like performing on stage, but,
Yep.
like, with angry drunk people, like,
Yeah.
that's a so but I do serve a little bit, but acting, film, anything of the arts, I like doing that as something that I just pour into and it's a way to release it. I like
Yeah.
doing it as an outlet, so
Yeah.
it's not like my main thing right now. I definitely have to focus more on, I guess, aspirations with financial security,
Yep.
but
Yep. Yep.
then the hopes and dreams, they come right along with it,
Yeah.
it's just the time management, discipline, and God, that's all it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, and I understand that, and I'm in the same position because I've got my day job, day profession, etc., and then I'm doing this on top of that to
Yeah.
kind of make my living, but also this is an outlet and something
To pour
enjoyable
into
for me.
yourself.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to know a little bit more about the teaching. Then, what has tempted you to want to go down that career profession route? What is it? Something from childhood, something as you was growing up? Did a teacher inspire you? What kind of pushed you down that path of wanting to be a teacher yourself?
I think it's yeah, all the above, I've been working with kids since I was a kid myself. It
Yeah,
started from church. I used to do a lot with, Sunday school or just, like, the, youth ministry. And then it went to working at, like, other vacation Bible schools. Then I started doing, like, after school programs and summer camps and stuff, and I was just always involved in in an educational setting with children. And so, I think when I was figuring out what I wanted to do, graduating high school, actually was thinking about going into law enforcement, and then I pivoted and
yeah,
I went into education, and it's really because, yeah, there's people in my life that played a factor into that. I had great people from admins to teachers growing up, but I think it's also just the state of the world and
yeah,
understanding a lot of the things we see today, a lot of the dilemmas we have in the world, they stem from experiences and thinking and mentality, and it's so crucial because it starts at such a young age,
yeah,
and I just wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of the molding stages because, you can try to change people, you can try to, like, fix right now, but sometimes it's about, like, trying to trying to be a preventative, actually, like,
yeah,
addressing the future before we even get there, and I think the children of today are going to be the ones that address our problems right now in the future,
yeah,
and so I think that's why I wanted to implement myself with, like, just younger children to, like, show them, give them a little, like, taste of the world, like, in no way to push any agenda, but
yeah,
more so it's like to be like, "Hey, these are things that are actually really important," like this whole AI movement that we're
Yep.
going through right now, you know? I love being a part of that in a classroom, being like, "No, you're not gonna use AI because there are certain qualities and skill sets that you're using when you go to AI for everything.
Yeah.
So now let's work on these skill sets so you don't need AI," you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I've pondered on, and I'm so glad that you brought up AI because that's probably where I was going to go next to this conversation.
Mhm.
The AI, I understand where there is, I think in teaching, depending on the level where you get to, there is obviously going to be a point where you need to introduce it because it's going to be a staple of life going
Yes.
forwards.
Yeah.
But there are fundamentals that we still need to learn, like the same way a child at school still needs to learn how to do 3 times 3 in their head or 7 times 8, etc. You can still go, yeah, but we've got this great tool called a calculator. Why would you even need to bother with that, etc.? You still need to learn a lot of the fundamentals before you move on to these powerful tools that could basically automate all of these, tougher questions, etc. It's like I don't know what the state of education is right now in terms of before, I remember when I was in my university studies or colleges, you say in the US, I had to have this one user interface to go and find all of my sources that I would need for the essay that I was writing at the time.
Mhm.
I'd need to scour the internet. Have to go into the physical library and find a book, etc. There are all the
Yeah.
things that I needed to do. Now you can just go into something like Perplexity, ChatGPT, Gemini, be like, hey, I'm writing something on this. You can still do the hard work of them reading them references, but to find the stuff in the first place, you can now just ask an AI tool, an LLM, to go and pull me 25. Okay, look through them. Okay, these 25s are great. Find me another 25. And it will just do that for you and fast track it. I remember I just go through, I'd find one paper, like the title, like the introduction, like everything in the abstract, like everything in the results conclusions. Right, what's in their references? Which one of their references now? And you have to go on this little treasure hunt of finding the sources that work for
Yeah.
you in the essay.
Uh,
Whether that's still being taught today, whether scrutinize reference lists and find create all these links, or is it just going to be, hey, don't bother with that. AI is just going to run that for you. Type in what you're interested in, and boom, it will generate it for you. So there is an element of fundamentals I totally understand, but I also wonder what ages will you start to implement AI usage? Because we don't even know what AI is going to turn into, whether we're all going to have like a little pocket app or a little thing that is our AI and we can talk to it and it becomes like a
mhm.
second individual in a sense, like knows all about you, knows all the way you like to learn, da da da. But you just have this little thing that you carry around is that your personal own AI. It might be AI gets banned. Who knows? Like it might go
Can
absolutely.
we just give it back to the elites?
Well,
Can we just let the elites have AI and leave it
I'm scared. I'm scared of that also because I don't know if you've watched the film Elysium, but that's a feature that I also see it where it goes a bit more dystopian, where the elites could
Oh,
become
yeah, true.
too advanced that we just get left. Well, we either get left on Earth or dying Earth, and then they disappear off to a utopia in a space station, or they go live in Mars. Or who knows what the future's to
Have
hold?
you
But
seen have you seen, you know the franchise Alien versus Predator?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you seen Alien? Where, you know, like, the first movie they were using that AI, like,
Yep.
machine? I think that was perfect. Where
Right.
it's just, like, this little jagged big computer, and it's like, "Hey, what is the cure for this?" That's too advanced for me." "Okay, fine. You're right." Like, it's like, "Nothing we can do."
Well, I think the AI is going to go. I mean, if you would like it to go down any route, I think AI should be like a Iron Man Jarvis, like the Jarvis. It's like this helpful assistant that just knows
Mhm.
everything, can figure things out with you, but you're the final person that gives approval, authorization, or says yes on things like it. It's this helpful, handy assistant, but it's just super, super smart and have predictive power. Not like you know, I don't want it to be locked away by, for elites because then I think they will just then become the disparity will become even wider and even greater. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the scare. And I think, like all things, it has its positivities. Like
Mhm.
I let my nephew kind of play with it because he's obsessed with drawing. So he's like, he likes to copy drawings in a sense. Like he'll like to
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at cartoon characters on a screen and he'll draw it. He does do some things from like completely from his imagination, but he's never that happy with it because it never looks as formed and as perfect as something that
Mhm,
he could copy that's already been generated. I always like tell him and encourage him to do both. Like you've got to be imaginative too, even if it looks a bit,
mhm.
rubbish and not as polished. Keep doing it and keep doing it until your brain
Yeah.
comes up with something that is just as cool
Mhm.
as the stuff that you see on a screen. But I ask him like, go ask ChatGPT, and he'll say like, make me a oh god, what are they called now? Them little Funko Pops or something like that. Make me a Funko Pop version of Fortnite character. And obviously
Oh, okay.
ChatGPT will go and create it. And then he'll have his imaginative idea that he's got in his head, but doesn't know how to draw it really well. Ask AI to then make it, and then he will draw and copy that kind of it in a way. So that
Mm,
he's got that little level of play with it. I know that's going to be, some people will find that like bad to do. Some people will find that like a great use of AI. It's better than going and making flipping, I don't know, some genetic virus that could wipe out humanity. But that's like his new form of play and imagination and kind of thinking up things. Um, I don't know what your thoughts are on that kind of if that's a kind of a irresponsible use of AI, etc. But what are you learning through your studies on how AI is being talked about and being implemented in school studies?
well, yes, we did a few units. Not a few. We did one unit on AI in like our science class, I think,
Yeah.
because of how prevalent it's become. And I think we were always taught to let it be a tool and not the worker itself. Like AI is not the teacher, you're the teacher. Like,
Yeah.
and I try to lead with that. If AI is doing the job that you're like, if we get to a point where you are not needed, then it's incorrect.
Yeah.
And I think AI takes away so many like natural human traits that we have that well they're natural because we learn them from like growing up and then it
Yeah.
starts to become second nature. I don't think we understand the dilemma. We are in a global epidemic when it comes
Hmm.
to critical thinking and
Hmm.
literacy because of AI.
Yeah.
AI
Definitely
takes away
literacy. Yeah.
all the critical thinking parts. All the
Yeah.
things we have to like really sit there and ponder or like you were saying being resourceful, going to an encyclopedia whoa, can't say that word today. But you know what I mean. You know
Encyclopedia.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Going to an encyclopedia or going to Google and looking for credible sources, understanding that you probably want to look for something that says .org or .edu before you go to .com.
Yeah.
These are things that like people are lacking because they are so used to or even understanding how to like there were some things that my roommates would ask about and I'm like you can kind of get to here if you just thought a little harder,
Yeah.
but it's because usually you're so used to like AI being like, hey, like, how do I do this? And AI is just going to tell you word for word, this is best for you because the type of person you are, you should want to do this. You can also lean this way, but why is AI doing the critical thinking for you? That's
Yes.
our job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's maybe where again, I think there's no getting away from the tool, but it's going to become so immersed into daily life where again we were taught critical thinking again with our references sources etc to like you've just said like .org whatever
You're-
to yes, you could just use Google and go find all that stuff and then just easily read the abstract, be a little bit lazy about it, kind of
Mhm.
fast track what you were going to say in your thing, and then just count as a reference. But we were taught, no, you've really got to go in and scrutinize all these things because, again, even if it is on a .org, what if you read through it and then you just something about it's off or it doesn't feel credible to
Yeah.
you, and then you go through
I
their references and you find something wrong. I think I'm totally on board with the whole critical thinking thing, and I am even if I ask an AI to do something or research something or look at something for me, I take everything with pinch of salt. The same way with if someone
Mm,
tells me something anecdotally, I will take it with a pinch of salt, and I
yeah.
will make my own decision. I won't be beholden to its answer. I will just kind of like, do I vibe with that or do I not vibe with that? Did the outcome, do I need to research this a little bit more, or am I just going to be kind of willfully blind and just agree with what it says? Because we know that even it itself has hallucinations. It itself makes up references and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's something that points you in the right
Crazy.
direction, but we don't take it for gospel, is what we would say. So I think
Yeah.
kids will. I don't know when it's going to come. I know I've heard of schools because I absorb a lot of AI kind of related content because I just want to be at the forefront of where this world's evolving, and I don't want to be left behind in a sense.
Yeah.
I've seen the schools now completely using AI to do the teaching part as such. I don't know whether they're on a screen, they've got some AI avatar or whatever, but there's now AI schools, and they're saying that they're condensing the teaching parts, so like the maths, the literacy, the history, etc. That's being taught by the AI with a teacher or two teachers still in the room to kind of support that, but the AI is creating it. So one kid's getting, their AI lesson generated one way, another one's getting their lesson for their learning styles. Maybe one of them's got a video, one of them's got reading because they prefer to read. A bit like me, we've said there, like I can't absorb information like lyrics because my brain just kind of goes blind to them weirdly. Does one have a podcast for their learning materials, etc., and they learn it auditory? So I guess that's, for me, I actually find that quite interesting. And then what they were saying in their school, okay, they'll do 3 hours of the day, so they kind of like half it where you do your learning, your literacy, maths, etc., science. But then the other half of the day, they're actually now the teachers will either take you out to play, like spend more time doing play. We'll give you actual more physical skills. Like we might actually then teach you stuff like, I don't know, how to butter bread or something like that. All these kind of like level skills that, again, your parents can teach you.
Yeah.
But maybe, again, they might not be good at teaching you that. They might not even think to teach that. They'll teach you these other life skills and let kids go and play as well. Like whether it's go do sports, do something more physical, more active. So I think that's it. I think it was I don't think it's the right way. I'm not going to say that today, but I think it's interesting how they're adopting AI to shorten the amount of time that you're learning to then expand the amount of time that you can actually have interpersonal interactions, whether it's with the teacher or the kids in the class. I just thought that was an interesting way that they're a dynamic.
Yeah.
It wasn't now, hey, we're just going to let these kids like hardcore sit there for 7 hours a day and do AI learning for the day. They still go, no, we think there's a sensible amount that you need to learn. There's obviously a sensible amount that your brain can even process. But now we'll get you out of the classroom a bit more and now enjoying more interpersonal things. And I think that's one thing that I hope is like the utopia of AI. Yes, okay, maybe it does take some of our critical thinking away, but do we get to just have more human-human interactions? Because if you think about it, back in the day, when we were hunter-gatherers, the only critical thinking that we needed to think about was, is this piece of fruit or vegetable going to kill me? Is this lion or whatever going to kill me? Is this cut that I've got infected right now? And maybe like critical thinking about interpersonal relationships or, having conversations with other tribal members, etc. That was our only critical thinking that we needed to do
Look
at
how
that
much
point.
we've evolved.
Yeah, we have evolved, but is it, which of the bits that I'm trying to think which of the bits are actually things that have evolved that we actually care or we've been tricked into caring about. Like, I think when I'm at work, then again, I can't really say about this because my work's actually something that's very, very much providing towards humanity. I work in the drug development industry. So, like, to say that it doesn't matter isn't, but I'm thinking like all these other kind of maybe corporate areas where, like, do we really need to be there 9 hours a day at a desk doing that? Like, is that really something that we need to do? Or is it these jobs that we've created to earn money, to keep an economy going, all this kind of stuff? Or because they always do like these kind of happiness tests, and those who live in more rural, sometimes even more poverty-stricken areas, seem to sometimes score more happiness, higher on the happiness level because they might have better family interactions, more of a kind of community network, all that kind of stuff. Yes, might be working in a field or whatever or something like that, but it's their sense of fulfillment is much, much more rather than having someone who's, sat there stressing at a desk job all day long. I can't remember what it was, but there was some theory about how school was made as a thing to make us all become workers. It made us an institution to make us all become
Yeah.
workers or something like that. Are you familiar with that?
I know what you're talking about because I feel like I've had this conversation
Yeah.
before, but, as a teacher, I wanna say that, like, I can agree that going through school and that was a part of it, going through school, it was so much. I feel like we should speak to our age when we were in
Hmm.
school,
Hmm. Hmm.
it was definitely it was about learning professionalism, learning how to be on time, learning how to turn things in on time, learning how to do your best. It was more about learning how to work for
Yeah.
the world?
Yeah.
And now it's more about like being able to place children in the world holistically. I
Right.
think that's the approach. We're talking all the time that an educator's job is to ready a child for the world holistically, meaning all the above. Like
Right.
they can immerse themselves into their communities and be able to like grow, help grow, and be able to do their civic duty as well and
Yeah.
on their role in society. I think the nuance that we're talking about, I feel like AI is good in a sense of like, yes, it can help. As
Yeah.
humans, unfortunately, though, I feel like, especially with the people we are today, I feel like technology has helped us be so lazy, which is why we're so attached to our phone, is
Yeah. Yeah.
because we have found that there's this easy device that makes our life so easy that if my phone is not here, now I feel like I can't do anything. I feel
Yeah.
like I can't go anywhere. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. That's what AI is now doing. Where these things that were easy, and it was like, okay, we can utilize AI to make it a little less, but now people are like, no, we can go create a whole song with AI. Why
Hmm.
would I have to? I spent 10 years learning the piano and I perfected my craft and I went to the studio and I put in all this hard work to make myself sound the best I can.
Yeah.
And somebody's gonna come in with AI and say that they did the same thing and their song is gonna go further.
Yeah.
Or what did you mean that this AI created this like this suit, that this designer probably could like had to really sit there and think like what kind of inspiration can I draw from? I think that's why art isn't what it used to be because it seems like they're following a blueprint as opposed to
Yes.
like just drawing from inspiration? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
I think
know.
a lot of art is imitation, in my opinion. As
Mm,
a person who draws myself, like we know that films generally follow a blueprint. There's
generally.
act one, act two, act three, conclusion, what all that kind of stuff. So there is blueprints to things, and a lot of it's imitation. But then there's always this kind of veneer on top of like personal touch or something that's new and that's novel, etc.
Mm,
So I think even from me when I was doing my drawings, I was like my nephew. I would copy things first, and then I would like maybe rather than full copying, I would tweak and I did my own thing because
mhm,
again, trying to draw something completely from imagination is actually quite hard. And I think the people
yeah.
that are like that are that 10% that pushes the boundary for new things, for new novel things.
Mhm,
And there is so many creative, artistic, artisanal kind of professions or kind of the arts that have not maybe not some of them have probably died, but some of them have been completely reduced by things like mass production. I've said this before in other episodes. Like there used to be craftsmen that would create ink. Like there would be a whole process. They'd create the ink. They'd get all the pigments, etc. Now you'll just have massive warehouses that just have robots that mix all the stuff together, etc. But there is
yeah,
probably like people in Japan, people in South America, all over the places that will go gather the flowers or gather the beetles or gather the charcoal or whatever it is, I don't know, that makes pigments.
mm,
But there'll be people that will still do that. But there was probably 10 times, 100 times more people that had that profession because there never used to be factories that did it. But now there is. There's going to be a small, very small proportion of individuals that do that anymore. I think about woodworking. There used to be, they're still in Japan. Japan does a lot of these things. They love the traditions and their arts, all that kind of stuff. They will still build their temples in the old traditional ways of things. You
mm,
go to the US, you go to the UK anyway, westernized, now big crane, pieces of metal, all this kind of stuff. So I think this is another thing of that where AI will probably scrap a load of things, but there'll be either something new that we do or there'll be a small subset of the population that keeps the old traditions going in a way. So when you're
Mhm.
saying like making a song, nothing can replace Beyonce on stage. Nothing can replace I don't know, Louis Capaldi on stage. Like that, there's these people that you can't replace them. I know even actors are getting replaced now by AI characters. But then you say AI characters. We've had AI, well, not AI, but computer generated characters for years and years and years. We've had animated characters. Just the voice is kind of done by an
Yeah,
actor.
but it's an artistic choice,
It
like
is an artistic choice, but I think it's another one thing. I think the problem is not that it makes it, it's the speed at which it can make it. And
Mhm.
how much we're now going to just get such a bloat of rubbish. The same way that when we first experienced social media was kind of somewhat of an enjoyable experience in a way. You was connected with your auntie or your friend, and you saw posts from your auntie, your friend, whoever, etc., cousin.
Yeah.
Now there's bots. There's, that have got their various different agendas or selling you ads, all that kind of stuff. We've got ads everywhere.
Or
The whole
people that you
experience,
don't even follow, like, popping up on your timeline, yeah.
exactly, because of
Mhm.
paid Facebook or Meta,
Yeah.
whatever, to get in your feed. I think that's like the old Facebook is still there. I can still see my grandma's post, and she can still like the stuff, the photos. It's still there in the background, but now it's just a bloat of stuff. And I
Yeah, all
think
the fluff.
that's what's going to happen with AI. There will still be some stuff that's generated that's really good from AI by people that probably know how to use it well and have got a great creative vision. But there's going to be loads of crap that's created. And
Yeah.
it's going to be sifting your way through that and let the cream, float to the top. That's going to be really hard. And again, that will push those who create things in the old fashioned way, in the authentic way. It will just kind of fall by the wayside, unfortunately. So there is negative, but then there's positives. It's tough, isn't it? It's one of
Hey,
these.
Kyle, I have a friend, I'll tell you right now, and he's gonna see this, and he's gonna be like, "I can't believe you said that." But I'm like, because I love him so dearly. He's like one of my
Yeah,
best friends. He's like a brother to me.
yeah,
He will literally sit there and have a whole therapy session with
with
his
AI.
AI. Like, and I'm talking about he asks his AI for like recommendations, for advice on stuff. And I get it, but it's
Yeah,
like I'm like, hey, I wish you would have just did some research, or that's what we're for, your
yeah,
friends,
yeah,
or like that's what you go to church for this, or therapy is expensive. So I understand being like, hey, like I can't, but I'm like talking to this generated, like scripted thing
yeah.
about your human feelings gets a little scary, you know?
Yeah, the humanity of things gets dwindled, and it now
Yeah.
becomes this programmed way of living life, navigating life, talking to loved ones. Like I know people do that as well. How do I reply to this text message in this argument right now? And they get it. Things are meant to be imperfect sometimes. Like if
Yeah.
sometimes you step the line, you say the wrong thing and annoys someone.
Yeah.
Don't then right, ChatGPT. How do I kind of calm this situation down? How do I validate their
How do I
feelings?
send this email to my what? What are you
Yeah, I
send
mean,
an email?
I mean, I use it for emails. Like no word of a lie. Like I'll use it for that kind of thing because in the corporate world, if it makes me faster and I can get my job done faster, great. But in personal situations, I'm
Yeah.
not going to use it for
Yeah.
that because I want to be. If I do stumble or if I do make an issue, I need to learn that humanly rather than, I'm not going to go back to my AI and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
she didn't like what I said. How do I reply again? Here's the next email." Not only
Yeah.
because you're serving up so much of your personal life to these things, but like
Yes.
you're just not learning how to live a human experience. You are just
Yeah.
living on autopilot through this thing. But anyway,
Oh, that
go
was
on.
it. You're not living a human experience. You're not
Exactly.
progressing and growing with human how we're supposed to when we're talking about back in the
Teaching.
day in Neanderthals and stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was an evolution. They had to learn trial and error, that's where their critical thinking came from. Like,
Yeah.
this is hot, it's glowing, let's not touch this. It's hot as hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's going to do things like in the world of science, in the world of maths, in the world of physics. It's going to do crazy, amazing things, and I'm so excited to see what it will do, what it will cure, what it will improve in our lives. But this social element,
Yeah,
it can corrupt it, it can infect it, it
yeah,
can turn it badly. And I think that like what you're saying with the teaching is teaching them people who are going to grow up with these things. Like I being 31, have lived through this weird transitional phase where I had no technology, or well, some technology. Like I had a Nintendo N64 or whatever it was called, like big fat cartridges, like solid box. Now you can go play on an Xbox X series and things look photorealistic and it's just blowing your mind kind of thing. I've gone through all the transition from Pong to now photorealistic films, not films, video games. The internet never existed. All these, I've gone through all of it now. They're now growing up where this is the way the world is. Like you've never
yeah.
experienced anything before that, unless
Mm,
you restrict your kids from any kind of phone, laptop, tablet until they're like maybe 16. You know, they've had a long time for their brain to form, which even then, they're not going to get it because then their friends, when they're out at the park or they're at school, they're going to have a phone. So they'll just
yeah,
get their little addiction done on their device,
yeah,
come back home, probably be depressed and anxious because they haven't got one. But
yeah.
yeah, you can teach people the critical skills. I think we just passed something in the UK where I think social media is banned for 16 and under. Um, and yeah,
Good, good,
and
good. I love
they
that.
interviewed a few people and they were like, they were crashing out. They were crashing out that they were having social media taken away from them. And I'm like,
Oh,
get on a bike, go out and go pretend to. I used to run around and pretend I was holding an invisible sword. It's maybe not 16, but you know what I mean? Like, we had fun. We used our imagination rather than, scrolling on
go
TikTok for two
start a
hours.
YouTube channel or go start a podcast. How about
Yes.
that? Go do something, you
How
know?
many of our generation have embarrassing videos from years ago where we've put up YouTube videos or even on Facebook just to our friends, but
Yeah.
there's just cringe stuff.
I
But I
had to
know what
go
you
and
mean.
clear everything. I was like, once I started getting older, I cleared everything because I'm like, what was I doing? Why did I think this was okay to post? Like, and it
Yeah.
wasn't anything offensive. It was just like, I'm so embarrassed because I thought this looked good. It didn't
Yeah.
look good.
I,
That was a horrible Jerry curl. Like, what what is this?
yeah, I know what you mean. I'd love to. We talked about family there, and I'd like to go back into your background, Garmunee, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So, where have you? Were you born in the US? Lived in the US all your life? What generation? Kind of in the US? I kind of add context. My family, my grandma is Jamaican. She lived in Jamaica, born in Jamaica, moved over here when she was a very young teenager, I think it was. Um, so I don't have any real links to the cultural side of things of being Jamaican. It's conversations that I've had on the podcast before. Like
Okay.
I've got the hair, I've I've got some a little bit. I've had a tan
I
recently,
was gonna
but
say
I'm
you
not.
got the cool
I'm
type of swag to you.
I'm not even really that like dark in complexion compared to some of my other friends who would like the same genetic mix of Jamaican. So I don't have the complexion, but I've still got a grandma who's black, and but then she didn't bring over the culture with her because she was so young. Like I don't have
Yeah.
any of the, you know, we'll still make chicken or curry chicken or oxtail or rice and peas, but like it's probably not like any recipe that's been handed down. It's recipes that we've looked online. Like there's none of that
Oh, okay.
cultural
Mm.
feeling there anymore because I don't think she had that when she moved that to the UK. But talk to me about your cultural background. I know you've referenced religion as well. So yeah, I just like, kind of want to talk about that more and understand that about yourself.
Hey, Kyle, if you ever find yourself in Minnesota,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same because again, they are restaurants, but I have some fire Caribbean places to go. Or
Nice.
like there's so many places in the Twin Cities that you can go. Even like literally like I'm not in Minneapolis. I'm in like a neighboring like suburban area
Yeah.
next to Minneapolis, and there's so many like Jamaican spots and Caribbean spots out here. I like trust me. we'll
Yeah.
find you some authentic food, man. Just come on over to
I
Minnesota,
mean,
dude. I got
I wanna go to Jamaica itself. Like my friend,
or that, yeah, just go to
yeah,
Jamaica.
he
Mhm.
went recently. He said it's amazing. So the food is crazy. I've been to the Bahamas, um, which is, in the vicinity, but it's not Jamaica.
Yeah,
But like the
Smith
food
fan.
there was amazing also. But yeah, I'd love to go to Jamaica at some point. But yeah, tell us about yourself, Garmin. I want to hear
Okay,
about your
sorry.
cultural background.
I'm
And
sorry,
there's
because
some fire Jamaican spots over where you are. I'll try them out at some point.
I love Jamaican food. So like, sorry, you
It's
got me
so
with that
good.
one. You got me with that one. But I'm actually Liberian. So
Right.
yeah, my mom and dad both Liberian. They were both born in Liberia. My mom was born in Monrovia. My dad was born in Firestone. And then they came here when they were teenagers, maybe like 16, 17,
Hmm.
and they actually moved to New Jersey,
Right.
Trenton, New Jersey when they first came to America. And that was I think the late 80s or early 90s, somewhere
Right.
around there. So they had my sister, and then they moved to Minnesota, and that's how they had me and my other siblings. And so
Yeah.
I was born in 2000. So I was literally born on the cusp of like we don't have a lot of internet, technology's not that booming, and then it
Yeah.
started advancing throughout my elementary school years,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I kind of got the best of both. Being born in 2000 is like the best because I feel like we're still attached to the 90s,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
then we're still a part of like the new age stuff. It's a nice experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, we uh I don't know, like wise, I don't know
Culturally,
what
is
to say
is a
about
lot
my
of
back.
Liberian? Would you say you feel you have still a Liberian cultural feeling household, whether it's the food, things that you
Oh,
do, part of the religion, all that kind of stuff? What does it even like? I spoke to Nia about his culture, about being a Hmong.
mhm.
I always get that. The H always throws me off. Hmong, I think it was.
Yeah,
Um, about being
mom.
Hmong. So, and he was talking about how their family is kind of broken down. There's almost like a hierarchy between parents and then older siblings, second hat siblings. Really interesting to hear about his cultural difference. And he talked a little about how his experience was growing up in the US, being Hmong, and kind of his sense of identity, not only with his own culture, but then also with his culture being in the US, obviously predominantly a white culture within the US, most of them from the UK generally.
Mhm.
And over there, what was it? How many years ago is it now? You've just had an Independence Day recently, haven't you? Is that July the 4th? Is that what that's all about?
Oh, July 4th. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
July 4th. Mm,
Breaking away from us pesky a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, is there anything different to what you would say is traditional US Western with being Liberian?
What I'd say is like being Liberian, and uh we Liberians, especially with the diaspora in the US with Africans, Minnesota is definitely like a cooking pot for Africans,
Yeah.
specifically West Africans. And then when you go to the a more metro area like the Twin Cities, like Minneapolis, St. Paul, then you get a lot of East Africans.
Right.
But here in Brooklyn Park, where like growing up, I grew up very West African. I grew up very, very Liberian. Like
Hmm.
all my cousins and friends for the most part were Liberian or African, I should say, not just
Yeah.
Liberian, but African. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and so when I got older, some of my friends forgot that I'd never been out the country before because they were like, these like we have we have this thing when you talk in a Liberian accent, we call it colloqua.
Right.
So I'm talking right now, but if I were to speak in a Liberian accent, I'd be like, "Oh, you boy, I kind of forgot you were born yet," and
Right.
it's like completely different.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things because my mom and dad, like, we grew up eating for the most part in the house mostly Liberian food, like
Right.
African food, style leaf, tabagi, palm butter, fufu and soup, chella fries, dried rice, we plantain.
Nice.
That's what we grew up eating,
Yeah.
and so it always felt as if like it didn't really feel like there was a disconnect when we went to an African setting and there were other Liberians there. It felt as like home.
Hmm.
But I guess it was easier for me to code switch because I grew up very, very Liberian.
Yeah.
But with my mom like going from Africa to New Jersey, there was so much culture that she was engaged with and she was immersed in, and
Yeah.
she brought it back here. And so like some music that we listen to and stuff like that, like all the Whitney Houstons and the
Hmm.
R&B and stuff, all Boys to Men, I
Hmm.
that was derived from my parents, like
Hmm.
my parent Lucky Dubie, Bob Marley, that's like my dad's
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But then yeah, so I was all the barbecues and the culture, like being Christian, that's like very rooted in like being Liberian. And
Yeah.
we even have like our Independence Day is coming up July 26th.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we that's coming up
What
soon.
What is the independence to? Educate me. Like independence to what? Sorry.
Okay, so independence to so we there were already native people in Liberia when I guess the Republic came and
Yeah.
actually like made it like I don't want
Part
to
of
say like
their what's
the
empire in a
coalition.
sense,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like.
like, like, with the thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but Liberia is made up of about, like, 16 different tribes, and they all came together, and that's pretty much, like I don't wanna say, like, how it started or how, like but, yes, it was kinda like because they were governing themselves, they kinda had their own governance, Each
Right.
tribe had their own culture, identity, way of living life, and their styles and uniqueness to them, and, uh, I guess it was, like, kinda when we broke away, and this is me trying not to get the history messed up, but technically it was kind of like a way for it's like this is supposed to be like your own country, like you
Yeah.
guys can do whatever you want over here, this
Hmm.
is for you now to like build up on your own. But I'd say I have to go back and really like dive into the history because I don't want to say too much because I don't want to be incorrect
So,
you know
well, I've just got. So there was 16-ish different tribes. They kind of
yeah,
coalesced into a Liberian people, and
yeah.
and
Mhm.
it was more. Is it not like a not as much an independence, but more like a recognition of like these are the Liberian people. This is Liberia, that kind of thing, rather
Yes.
than when I think of independence again, I'm thinking like the US trying to break away from the UK. Like, you're not going to dictate us anymore in terms of how we live. We are going to become we're going to be recognized as the United States of America, go away kind of thing. It was more of a recognition of we are the Liberian people. We've come
Yes.
together. That's we are, etc., etc. Okay. So
Yeah.
for the day that's coming up on the 26th, what kind of things happen? Is it a big celebration? Is a lot of, did you say Christianity is the main faith? Is there a lot of Christianity looped into that, or is it more just focusing on the kind of Liberian identity, cultural, all that kind of stuff?
Mhm. What I will say is I feel as if Liberia, I feel like with a lot of other ethnicities or in cultures, you do have like a set religion and they are really religious. I
Yeah.
don't think Liberia, I wouldn't say we're really religious. I think just most of us are Christians or
Right.
maybe Muslim as well.
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, we're really big on partying. We love partying. We love food. We love cooking. We love dressing big. We're really prideful people.
Yeah.
So, like when Liberians independence comes up, and we don't even call it Liberian independence, we call it July 26th. Like, like
Right. Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
date itself, like kind of like how July 4th, but it's like
Yeah.
we say like yeah, we don't say like how kind of like they go like, oh, the 4th of July in America is like, oh, the 4th of July representing Independence Day. We just say like July 26th because
Yeah.
that
It's gonna be a big
means
party. We know it's coming.
big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Actually, the governor of Minnesota, I think it was last year, he decreed it like an actual, like he decreed and declared that it was an actual national holiday,
Oh, cool.
like here.
Hmm.
So there was a big parade. We're really into kickball, so like most times you get on a field and like play kickball, like everybody goes and watch like the
Hmm.
Liberian like soccer kickball team, like and there's a whole bunch of guys that used to do it, but they probably don't do it anymore, and
Right.
they'll just like they don't play anymore on a team, so they just go and they just like have a little scrimmage, or just we have a little tournament for
Yeah.
that day, people selling meat. We're really big into like shish kebabs and stuff like that and chicken,
Hmm.
and so people selling their stuff, we are very expensive, like it gets a little pricey, but yeah, and you're gonna see our flag everywhere. We're
Yeah.
really prideful about our flag, dude. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's great. It's very festive for sure.
Cool. So that's coming up. Are you doing anything in particular for July 26th, or are you going to be doing anything yourself, or are you going to be more just kind of going and attending? Are you kind of putting anything on, or are you just going to be an attendee of these festivities and partying?
See, this brother right here, he's an attender. You know, I'm more of an attendee type of guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like I like to get into the space and the energy. But when it's hosting, I feel like I'm never the best at because I'm so big on every individual that like when I'm hosting something, you probably don't get full garm.
yeah.
But when I'm an attendee, look, I'm gonna turn this up real quick. I got it. But but
I love it. I love it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go out and look for some food. I'm gonna like who's grilling, who's barbecuing. I'm probably gonna go to the parade.
Yeah.
Oh, this year we have some artists coming out to Minnesota, some like
Hmm.
African artists coming up, and it's gonna be this like big concert. Think like Lollapalooza or like music festival or something like that.
Yeah.
The like Kid. I don't know if you're familiar with Kid. He's a great Afrobeat artist.
Right.
Look, if you need me to send you something, I got you. But
Yeah.
he's a great Afrobeat artist, and he's coming. He's headlining. That. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. I'm gonna go to that concert as well. And
Cool.
then the clubs are gonna be packed probably. Like we
Yeah.
pack up the clubs a lot too as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, plenty, plenty of partying, plenty of food, plenty of music, just good vibes, good atmosphere, and just
Mhm.
a positive celebration. Maybe,
Yeah.
like you say, not as much thinking anymore about the independence, the bit behind it, but it's like it's a celebration of Liberian culture, Liberian people enjoying yourselves, getting
Yeah,
all together, kind of thing.
pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, we have Carney in the we'll have Carney all up and down parts of the UK where um many members. I don't know whether it's particularly a Jamaican thing or just generally a black culture thing. Like Carnival. I remember back in where I used to live in Derby, Carnival on there, and me and all my friends would go down. There'd be food, there'd be dancers, there'd be the parades and all that kind of stuff, and it was just an amazing time.
Nice.
No one, I never really knew why we'd have the carnival. Like maybe there's a reason behind it, or was it just a big party? I don't know. So I can kind of see where you're coming from. It's like, right, we've got a set time. Let's all get together. Let's have, let's
Yeah.
just enjoy
Yeah.
the culture kind of thing. Um, so that's every 26th of July every year, or is it like
Every
a
26th of
every
July.
26th of July? Nice. So is that gonna is that fall on a weekend this year? Doesn't it? So
I think so. I think it's a Friday.
Friday or a Saturday, I think it is. I think
Mhm.
it might even be a Saturday. So that's even better, isn't
Saturday.
it? So I think it's a Saturday.
Ooh.
So that's even better. That means all stress off. Most people have not got weather the next day, most likely. So I imagine it's going to be even more turned up as a big party.
It's gonna be lit for sure. It's gonna be lit.
So your parents are Liberian.
Yes.
Um, just growing up, I guess. I spoke to Nia about this. Did you, if you're saying Minnesota is quite a heavy, like it's quite a mixed kind of generation culture of people anyway, did you ever, was there any sense of adversity, any kind of struggle with the cultural identity and side of things? Like I'm not struggled, but kind of I've always said I can be a bit like Hannah Montana. Like I can hang around with my friends that are mixed race, black friends,
Yeah.
kind of be in that world and side of things. Then I can kind of go hang around with anyone and most people in the UK will just think I'm a white person with curly hair. That's what they kind of think. Anyone who's got any color, they go, "You've got something in you, a little bit
Yeah, there's
spicy." That's
something
what.
here.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a Jamaican grandma, etc., etc." So I've always struggled because I don't know which side to affiliate with. Like I'm really proud of like my black background and again, I can't really say as much as the Jamaican culture because I don't know it, never been taught it. Grandma didn't know it. Mum can't really send it down to me. I've lived some of that through a lot of my friends that are Jamaican, whether they're, half similar to me or Jamaican, etc. So like I've lived through that and learnt a lot of things through them and through the Jamaican culture that way. So I've struggled with it. I've kind of built on it as I've grown older and kind of explored it. My mum and my sister have also explored a bit more about that, mainly through cooking, but we have, all this kind of stuff. So I don't know how has it felt for you kind of being born in the US, having strong Liberian household, but then kind of going into this more Western culture with it again, like school, being brought up that way, kind of the maybe a lot of Western kind of viewpoints or uh, kind of teachings, all that kind of stuff. How's that been growing up for you? Has it been something that's difficult, or just feel really kind of not natural? I've just turned up how I am today. The person I am through my experiences, or have you critically thought about it? How you've kind of settled into society as such.
Okay. And I also wanted to point out we have time, by the way. So like
Yeah,
you go as like long as you want to go. Like we have time.
yeah,
But uh I think here in America, because there's so many racial things that happen, they sometimes don't care about the details.
yeah,
When they see me, they see a black man.
right.
They don't see like even if I was Caribbean or Brazilian,
Yeah,
they would see a black man.
yeah,
Your skin's dark. This is how you look. You look like a black man.
yeah.
And from the way I talk as well, like nobody sees an African man when they're talking to me, you know? So I think that was what was really different growing up,
Hmm.
where I had to tell people that I was African and then like, oh, you don't give African, you're African. I would never know. And it wasn't
Right.
only by like just Americans. Sometimes like my African friends would say the same thing too. Like going to college and the church that I went to, we had a lot of it was very, very diverse,
Hmm.
and we had a lot of international students that would come, and I would always try to, like, relate to them, and, I'd be like, "Yeah, like, I'm African, I'm Liberian," and I can tell that there was just a disconnect because I wasn't like there were some things that I couldn't relate to when they talk about going back home and
Yeah,
stuff like that, or that type of culture,
yeah,
but I just knew, like, I can relate to it here in, like, the setting and the capacity that I know about it here.
yeah.
And then growing up, yeah, it was hard being in certain spaces and you have, like, certain friends talking about, like, certain like, groups talking about Africans in a meaning that wasn't like, making jokes about, like, Africans, but that's because to them, it's like, "Oh, this is a safe space," like, but it's
Hmm.
like, "No, I'm African," like, like, I'm also African,
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, I didn't think you guys would take offense because, we're all black,"
yeah,
but
yeah.
there is a slight disconnect where when I'm with my African friends, like my authentic African friends, like really
Hmm.
authentic, you
Yeah.
know, it's they're like, "Oh, you're too American, this American boy or this American boy," and then, when I'm with my American friends, like, I feel like my when I'm with my Black American friends, I feel like sometimes and I think it's different now that we're
Hmm.
older, but yet growing up, there was a disconnect where it was like, "Oh, it's funny to make fun of Africans," and
Yeah,
it's like certain comments and jokes that they would make, I don't think they thought it would hit home because it's like I'd never been there, so they thought that there was still like I didn't have an attachment to my culture, but
yeah,
I did. You
yeah.
know, so it was just, that's how it was growing up,
Hmm.
kinda in between, but I feel like I just always led authentically with me, like, I let everybody know I'm African, and, I love
Yeah,
speaking in an accent sometimes, I love my favorite foods are usually they're for the most part African foods,
yeah, yeah,
other than curry.
yeah, yeah.
Curry is I love curry,
Well, which
but
kind of curry? Because again, I'm automatically thinking like Indian curry food. There's Asian, like Japanese curries. There's
yeah, there's all
Chinese
different types
curries.
of curry.
Yeah,
Mm.
just any curry. Just love curry.
Well, I'll let you know, to be exact, I do like Jamaican curry, and I like
Oh,
Thai curry. Those are
oh
my
yeah,
2
yeah,
favorite curries.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel you. So I, I, I. It's interesting because when you get like, I've seen these things where if you get the map of Africa and you actually like move it across, like if you was to do the real represented size of how big Africa is, it like swamps, like most of Europe. Like it's huge. Like Africa
Really
actually is.
big.
What you see on the map is not a proper representation of how big Africa is compared to some of the other countries that are represented on the map. So it is there is distinguishing factors between if you're from Ghana or you're from, I don't know, Nigeria or you're from Liberia or like all these different areas, even all the way up to like Morocco, etc. Like there's differences of people, differences of cultures. And I do see that where like, I'm trying to think like in the UK, do we do that as much? I think you can kind of tell we probably break it down to like, are you Caribbean or are you African? Like that's probably where you break down to. But even like to me, like I've done my DNA, my 23andMe. Yes, it says I know I'm Jamaican. My grandma's Jamaican, and we all know the history of this. But actually, my roots go back to West Africa. Like it's predominantly
Ah,
Nigerian. So that's where it kind of all comes from. So we probably do the same thing. We break it down to are you Caribbean or are you African? Like if we're seeing a black person, we would not then go even further. Like we probably could do actually, like where in Africa, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. We have people that are obviously like first generation, lived in Africa, moved here, and then we have also people that are second generation. All of my friends are all second generation. I've never had anyone who's lived somewhere else and then moved over here kind of thing. I do from others, like people from like Poland, other parts of Europe who have moved here. But I've not got any kind of black friends that lived somewhere else and then have moved here and lived the two different cultures. Is this something that
interesting.
you
Okay.
is this something that you would going back to Liberia or something like that? Was that something you would like to do? And like same way I want to go to Jamaica, even though
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel miles apart from it. You'd want to go do that at some point aspirationally.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's how you give back,
Mm-hmm.
to your people, your culture, and like understanding myself a little more. Like my family does a great job. Like I know who I am, I know my identity, I know my culture, but being able to go back and being like, okay, this is exactly like I understand where we get this from.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
it, this is what it is. Like, oh, like everybody out here is like this,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like this makes sense. And also just taking resources and giving it back to the people back home,
Yeah.
taking knowledge and my skill set and just implementing it in Liberia any way possible. The
Yeah.
goal,
Yeah.
that is always the goal, especially when
Yeah.
people come here, when people migrate from where they are and they could move to a different country, most of the times is for a better life. And majority of the times they're planning to take that back home so
Yeah.
that they can utilize it where they know as home, it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
always the plan to come and stay here in America or
Yeah.
wherever the case may be for you, you know?
Yeah. 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 Same in Europe. We've had I know plenty of families that were like Eastern European. We've got a lot at the moment. I think in like the Polish community that moved to the UK for better pay, better kind of living situation, all that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of trades kind of moved from Poland to the UK, and now Poland's booming. Like its economy is like really going off, and they're like, "Well, sod it, we'll move back home in a sense. Like
Mhm.
we'll lift up, we'll go back because the UK's on the downturn in a sense." So like
Uh,
some of them might have always planned to stay here. Some have decided, you know what, we've done well in this economy, but you know, let's move back home, kind of thing. Some people do it where that one family member will just move, make the money, send it and funnel it back home in a sense, and then go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
every so
yeah.
often. So there's different ways that people do things.
Have you
Um,
been to Jamaica yet?
no, I've not been to Jamaica yet.
Okay.
I think, and this is a question for you as well. I think I feel like it's gonna be a really weird experience because I feel like it's gonna be culture shock to me rather than feeling like I'm clearly not gonna feel like I'm gonna fit in. I'm physically like not gonna visually look like I'm gonna fit in. I'm gonna have so many preconceived ideas of what I think it's gonna be like. But I think once I'm gonna get there, it's gonna be like not gonna be overwhelming, but it's gonna be a lot for me to kind of digest. For
Mhm.
yourself, how do you think it would be for you to go to Liberia and go experience that? Do you think it'd be a culture shock for you as such, or do you think, okay, this is just home, but like, or a bit more like home, or you know, because you've got your parents in the household that are very much going to be like that. You said there's a lot of people, maybe not there's a good amount of a Liberian community, but it's not Liberia still. Like it's different. Do you think you'll
Yeah.
have that level of culture shock when you go yourself as well?
I think I will just naturally because I'm not used to walking outside and seeing
Yeah,
everybody just look like me, you know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and everybody living like it would be as if I'm in my house, but like in the world. Like my house is
Mm-hmm.
like everywhere, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think yeah, it would be a culture shock, you know. I also like I'm not used to consistent heat, you know.
yeah,
My room has to be a little cold. Like
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
do that. Like there's some things that would be a learning curve for sure. For
yeah,
sure. I would experience some growing pains, but the beaches are beautiful there.
yeah.
They have beautiful like nature. I'm a nature guy. I love plants. I love animals and stuff, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
I explore like crazy. I don't know how electricity is over there. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's something that would also be a learning curve, but it just helped me be
Yeah,
more, like, in tune with my surrounding and my environment, you know?
yeah.
Uh,
So is it? I guess if you've not been there, do parents not go back at all then either, or have they not been back since or do they go back?
yeah, my mom goes back more consistently than anybody. So my
Right,
mom, she actually went for a few months and she just came back, last November.
right.
She got here in November. And my dad went with my sister probably, like 2 years ago. I think
Mm-hmm.
they took a trip out there 2 years ago, and my little brother went with my sister as well last year.
So you've not been?
Yeah, so I think for the most part, it's me, my oldest sister, we're the
Yeah.
only 2 that have not been
And is
there
that
yet.
just because of the logistics, timings, like there's stuff that you've just got to go on, responsibilities or
Yeah.
commitments, etc.
Yeah,
It's not
these
worked out.
people love going on trips when I'm in school. That's what it is. Every
Yeah,
time they wanna do a family trip is always when I'm in school, so
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair. Well, especially if you go into the profession of teaching, obviously there's greater gaps where you'll have more freedom and time, hopefully, to go
Yeah.
do that kind of stuff and explore, and hopefully your family aligns at the same time for you. But yeah, I'm so similar on the same board. I aspirationally want to go to Jamaica. Um, I don't think I'll have the opportunity to take my grandma with me. I don't know if she'll have the interest to even want to go herself, to be honest, because
You don't think
in
so?
we don't have anyone in Jamaica anymore. The rest of the family all
Mm.
moved to Chicago, or the immediate family. There's probably again cousins, all sorts of stuff that are in Jamaica, but we probably won't even want to make a connection with them because they're basically a stranger. But her immediate family moved to Chicago. Now my mum has gone to go meet them in Chicago. My cousins most recently they went to go visit them as well too. Um, it's weird for me as well. I'm connected with them, but I don't feel that immediate connection or affiliation. Maybe if I
Mm.
go out there, I will and meet them. But again, I've not got I'm not massively eager or yearning to go do that yet. Um, so yeah, I don't think my grandma would be that interested to go back to Jamaica. Um, but my mum would love to, my sister would love to. So I'm sure at one point, whether I get a big bonus at work one day or something like that, we'll book some flights and we'll go and explore and kind of, see what it feels like. It will definitely be a shock to me. Um, and, but yeah, I think it'll be amazing. I imagine the beaches there are amazing. Um, but I won't be able to do any of that kind of soul searching thing. I won't be able to find out. Maybe I'll be able to find out where my grandma did live and go there and experience it. But I won't be able to there won't be someone there that I can chat and be like, what was it like? Well, back then when my grandma lived here, there's none of that. It's just going to be, I'm going to be almost like I'm on holiday still, but just in a place where I know that my ancestry once lived in a sense. You'll have
Yeah.
family there. There'll be a different experience for you, I guess.
Yeah, there could be, yeah.
But yeah, so you've got that coming on the 26th. Are there any other kind of special holidays for the Liberian culture? Or is that the main one, really?
I'd say that's the main one, yeah,
Main one.
like, that's our main that's our main holiday, other than that, all the other holidays are just, like, national holidays.
Yeah, 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 fair. So you've got the teaching that's hopefully coming around as the career. You've got theatre, film. on the side as your passion, your outlet, the stuff that you're chasing. What are your true future aspirations then, Garmunee, in terms of like where you would like to go? Teaching is obviously something that's your core belief of what you would like to do and kind of give back to the next generations in a way. But I
Yeah.
guess if you could hit it big, whether in the film or the theater, is that where your heart would take you, would say? Or would you still maintain some level of, I guess even in that profession, you went down theatre the route or the film route, you could still do teaching, but not teaching in the sense of like elementary or whatever. You could teach
Yeah.
other people. So I guess teaching will always be at the heart of what you want to do. But if you hit it big, would that be the road that you want to go down or?
Yeah, I teaching the end goal for sure is film
Yeah.
and acting and
Hmm.
the arts. I think my passion doesn't lie within teaching. My passion is children,
Yeah.
education,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that can look any type of way. That can look like anything. That it can look like me being a lead in the classroom, or it
Hmm.
can look like me being at a table making decisions,
Yeah. Yeah.
or it could be me starting something. I think that was the thing. Like when I got into teaching, like school-wise, when I started going to school and I declared my major, it was very apparent. I try to make it as clear as possible with
Yeah.
my family, my advisors that like teaching was never like the end goal. Like teaching is
Hmm.
temporary. I'm expecting to teach for a few years and then I'm on my big break and I'm on the screen with Michael B. Jordan or Will Smith or something or like like that is the goal. You
Yeah.
understand? But like you said earlier, during the summers you have the luxury of having 3 months where you can work on your craft and pour
Yeah.
into yourself, and
Hmm.
that's what I plan on doing. I'm hoping that I can teach for about 3 to 5 years, and then like, all seriousness, I hit a big break
Yeah.
where, like, my acting career is, like, kinda rolling and is
Yeah.
starting to
Yeah.
boost a little bit.
Yeah, I think what was it? I listened to a Seth Rogen clip earlier today. It was like, if you ever want to be successful, just don't quit. That's his.
Yeah.
It's like just don't quit. Keep going. If you enjoy something, don't quit. And you never know when you might get the lucky break. And he said something like, just think about Ian McKellen. Like he didn't become famous until he was something like 65 years old. That's when
I know.
he was Gandalf. He was Magneto and X-Men, etc. He was no one ever really heard of him as much on such a wide global scale until them films. And he was like 50s, 60s, etc. So you never know when the break is.
Please let it
Obviously,
happen 20, 30 years before him. Just just let
yeah,
it happen 30 years before him.
I think who are other ones? Is it was Morgan Freeman another one who's quite later in life, or was it Denzel? I can't remember. One of them was later in
I
life.
think Robert Downey Jr., was he later in
Yeah,
life?
yeah. A lot of these are the people
Iron
who
Man?
like got the bigger breaks later in life.
Mhm.
Um, I tell you what, like acting, some actors do have it, like in a way. Like I bumped into Keanu Reeves, and I had a conversation with Keanu Reeves.
You're just gonna throw that out there? Just like
I'm just going to throw that out there because it touches on. But I bumped into Keanu Reeves at the F1, and I sat down with him for an hour and a half, and I had a conversation with him. And I'm probably outing him here, and if anyone ever watched this, would probably slap me on the wrist. But we are talking about the Formula One. And I was just like, oh, are you into it? Like, da da da. I've seen you really getting involved with F1 now. And he was just like, like, it's all right. Like, he's more into motorbikes. Like, he's got he's part owner, whatever, of this motorbike company, Arch Motorcycles. That's his thing that he's really into. But
okay.
he's on a lot of motor related things, and some F1 related stuff. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like he would want to talk about this. We're at the F1 now, Silverstone weekend, Grand Prix weekend. He's into this stuff. He was like, it's all right. I've been to a couple of races. I get asked along to kind of do these things. I was like, okay, fair. I was like, are you going to go watch the race this weekend? He was like, not really sure. We'll see how it goes. I was like, okay, so he's really not into it that much. Sunday, right? Sunday, he's there, the race day. He's got trackside vest on. He's in front of this crowd, and he's got a microphone. And I'm like sort of thinking, he doesn't really care about F1. They pass him the microphone, They go, "How you finding this weekend?" Then he goes, "It's amazing. I love this. F1 is the best. Like, look at this crowd. Look at this amazing crowd. Look at all these beautiful people." And I'm like, "You what? You just told me 2 days ago you couldn't really care about F1, and you just did it." He was so convincing. I was like, and I was in my brain. I was like, "Do you like F1 or do you like F1?" I actually don't know because they both were so convincing. And I was like, some people just have this knack. Like they are born actors. Like they can assume a role. And I don't know whether in your acting where you're more of like a method actor, like you really put on the costume of the character, or you kind of I know there's like people, I don't know, like Joaquin Phoenix, he's one of these people apparently who's like a really big method actor. Christian Bale as well. He's done crazy stuff to get into character and all this kind of stuff. But I remember just watching Keanu, I was like, wow, you really are a Hollywood actor. This is crazy. Like, this is so good. I've seen me do like school plays, like, and I'm in the moment thinking, oh, I'm killing this. The same thing. I watch it back and I'm like, nah, I'm wooden as hell. Like, there's no emotion coming out of me, nothing convincing. But yeah, I find it fascinating. Like, some people just are born with the talent in a sense. So I don't know where I was going with that as a point, but I just think it's
What's funny
people
though?
people get a break, and I think Keanu got his break early on. He did lots of different early films, but I think again the path to success for the acting career is, it seems like it's just one of these things that just it's nothing, 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 and then you're like boom, it just kind of
Yeah.
goes vertical in a sense. I went to college with a guy. If you've seen the most recent Game of Thrones movies,
Okay.
he's the snow guy, the bad guy. Is he a bad guy? I don't know, but he's one of the guys in that. And I remember being at college. He was talking about moving to America to do the acting career.
Yeah.
For us, he disappeared off the map. Like, he was doing whatever he was doing, these productions that you would never see it. And then one day I was walking down the street, and then there was whatever it was called, the not Game of Thrones. The what's the thing that with Katniss Everdeen? What's it called?
Um. Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. I
Yeah.
saw a Hunger Games poster with his face on it. I was like, what the heck? Like, where the hell did this come from? And I looked through the backlog on his like background of what he'd been doing. Yes, he'd been chipping away. He'd been doing this production, that production, and then just obviously went to an audition, landed this thing. Next thing, he's on a Hollywood screen. I was like, and now I'm seeing him at this red carpet, that red carpet. My brain's just blown by like, you didn't exist before, and now you are everywhere, like kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And it is
Yes.
just, it's a break, isn't it? So whether it's the hard work, the lucky break, but it's the never giving up that kind of gets you there, I guess. And I feel that when I'm doing this, and I'm like, that one wasn't received as well, or didn't do as great, or I
Mm.
haven't got the energy today. But I'm like, and I remember that Seth Rogen quote, and I'm like, nah, just don't give up. That can't quit. Keep going. One day it will hit.
Right.
You do enjoy it, and even today, I'm having this discussion now. I'm loving it. I'm like, I'm
That's
all
good.
in.
I was gonna say, I hope this one's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm all in, man. Like, I always find some common ground with some people. Like, and everyone's so rich in life. There's always something interesting to touch upon. And I've learned so much just talking to you for an hour and a half or so today. There's so much to learn. And that's like you with the kids and going to school, you're gonna not even you're doing the teaching, but you're gonna learn so much from them kids. They're different
Mhm.
personalities, what
Yeah.
they learn from their parents at home and what they bring in, how they live their life, their behaviors, their little idiosyncrasies. People is just the be all and end all of everything of this human experience. Is how do we act with each other? How do we interact? What do we learn from each other? What do we create? All that kind of stuff. I think that's what the human experience is. It is not hopefully
Yeah.
to go and work 9 hours at a desk every day. It's how do we have these people to people relationships at the end of the day, I think.
Mhm.
And you're
I
doing all of that. You're doing all of that, whether it's the teaching, whether it's the plays, whether it's the you've got. I think you're not doing as much, and it's obviously going to be admin to parts of the jobs that you do, but a lot of it seems to be people interactions, people focused
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
you do. So very people orientated person, which is the premise of this show. It's all about connections. It's all about networks. So I'll kind of just transition towards a close here. So even at the age that you are, it seems like you've got a lot of lived experience, a lot of wisdom. One of the things that we like to do on the show is we like to do like a final takeaway. And pressure's not on here. You don't need to come up with something that's like absolutely mind blowing, but just think
I
of
was
something
like,
from. What am I going to go? Let me just get ChatGPT up to. What can I say that's really inspirational? Um, but we like to give a takeaway, and it can be something that you might have touched on that was poignant from this conversation. But for the audience, from your lived experience, what do you think is something to take away? What is something that they should kind of consider going forwards, and a lesson that they should kind of enact and practice in their own life?
um, man, what's funny is I was just doing a job application and I literally set a motto about myself, and I'm like, I'm about to give a motto that you guys can follow
Right.
that doesn't necessarily pertain to what we were talking about,
Sure.
but just I feel like something I had wrote, I said I try to lead my life every day with the idea that, you need to see people as human before anything else, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think coming into this conversation, it was me understanding that I'm talking to another human being
Yeah.
first. Like, like like he's human, so everything I'm experiencing, he's probably experiencing it too.
Yep.
I feel uncomfortable because I don't really know him as well. He probably
Mm-hmm.
feels uncomfortable too because he doesn't really know me as well. Like
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous because I don't know what he's gonna ask me. He's probably a little nervous because he doesn't know what I'm gonna say. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that, and especially being a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
going into a classroom and understand that before I see these kids as kids, I have to understand that they're human. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're acting this way because you're probably frustrated about something. You probably don't understand something that's happening in the space, or there's probably a trigger for you in the space that
Mm-hmm.
instead of being like this kid is being a kid, I'm going to understand that this is a human and I have to attend to their human needs, and we
Yeah.
have to cater to people as human. This person's not just black or white or Jamaican or Liberian or boy, girl, whatever you identify as. It's first is human, just
Mm-hmm.
they're human, so we lead
Mm-hmm.
with that. And once you lead with that, once you make a connection, we are both just human in this space. Everything becomes easier to do
Yeah.
because I understand that you're just a human like I am, and you have needs just like I have needs. I'm able to look past everywhere where we disagree, everywhere we don't meet eye to eye,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm gonna be with you being human first before understanding that like you're voting for a different political party than I am.
Yeah.
Like yeah, stuff like that. But that was something I just want to throw into the space. Treat
Mm-hmm.
people as humans before you treat them as your boss or your colleague or your
Yeah.
coworker.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I agree with that. And to kind of add and touch on it with the human aspect, I think I've people have kind of told me off in the past of being like a bit of a devil's advocate or never having too strong of a reaction or opinion to things. Because I think I approach with things with that same mindset. I have a lot of pause. If someone's either acting out or something like that, or if there is a disagreement, I'm not one of them people that immediately jumps to like this person's wrong or this person's evil. Like
Uh-huh.
how many things, how many experiences have led them up to this point? Like
Yeah.
how far
Yeah.
you can go back like years and years and years and years and years, or even just like the hour before this. Did someone cut them off in traffic, and that's why they're a little bit
Mhm.
more like rather than being this quick to react with someone, it's like you gotta remember, like you've just said, step in their shoes and their skin. Like when have I been like this before? I might have had a bad day. I doesn't mean
Did I
that
eat
they're
did he
being
eat
an
today?
asshole as such. Like it just means something's a little bit off. Is there
Yeah.
something that even you looking and reading between the lines of this human behavior right now that I can maybe help with, or maybe take the edge off of whatever's going on right now, kind of thing. So I completely agree. Like teaching other people, realizing that there are other human beings. That is that is the definition of this show. The Sonder is the realization that every person has a story as vivid and complex as your
Uh-huh.
own.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has their own, they're all their own main characters. They're all having their own experiences, and for them, in a way, we're just another background character. So how can you bridge the gap no, we're both main characters in this situation. We're both here having these vivid, complex experiences, and I'm not going to live in my own head and my own perception. I'm going to try and think how you're thinking too at the same time. And I
Yeah.
think that does make things a lot less volatile, a lot less explosive if you're thinking about disagreements, but even in the positive things, like living and experiencing joy through someone else's joy. Like that's another
Mm.
thing you can do. Like understanding when you see, I love it when I'm just sat there and I can see whether it's a family or like a dad or a mom playing with their kid, and I can see them both just smiling and laughing.
And then you
And
just start.
yeah, it makes me smile too, and because I understand that my human experience. If I was in that same mode right now, I could imagine what I'm feeling. And I
Yeah.
remember the other day, someone was delivering a package at my door, and I live next to a first school, and my nephew goes to that school, and I sit outside, and I can hear them play every day, like the different sets of kids. They're all kicking a football, playing tag, hide and seek, whatever they're doing. And I remember the guy delivering was like, "Oh, I bet you find that annoying, like the sound of the kids playing and laughing and screaming and having fun." I was like, "No, like I love that I get to that's they're having pure joy right now. They're
Yeah.
running around and having fun. I wish I was like that again. That is not annoying. That is one of the best sounds you can hear is kids having a good time, having fun in play with their friends. So yeah, treating other people like humans. I think if we could all do that, probably a lot of the bad in the world would decrease massively.
Mm.
The tribalism would get way more decreased. All that kind of stuff, disagreements, all this explosiveness, all the volatility would be reduced if we just treated other people and recognized them as other human beings going through this weird and wonderful journey that is life, kind of
Yeah.
together. So I agree 100%. I think that's definitely a great motto. And I wish that more people would adopt that perspective going forwards in life. And the idea of Sonder. So I'm so glad that you brought that up as like the
And
final
even
takeaway.
with Sonder too, like, I want you to know Sonder is such like a word that like that's like one of my favorite words is because of the meaning behind like just the idea that everybody lives their individual lives, you know?
Yeah.
And my best friend's girlfriend was actually like I think she has a tattoo of Sonder on her,
Oh,
and like we
nice.
talk about literally the word itself all the
Hmm.
time, like
Hmm.
and everybody's like, and then we like will explain it to the group, like this is what Sonder means. Like I have a playlist in my on my in on Spotify,
Hmm.
literally called Sonder. Like it's
Nice.
called Sonder, and it's something to let me know that I am living my own life. Nobody
Hmm.
else can live my life for me. Nobody else understands it, you know. So yeah, but there was also one thing that I
Sure.
wanted to slip in here just
Go
to
ahead.
hit on when it comes to you had said something literally you had just said something and I was thinking about this, but
Yeah,
I don't know the connection, so it's gonna sound like it's a squirrel. It's gonna sound like I'm
that's
just putting
fine.
it out there. But when it comes to understanding each individual as human and understanding like having that empathy and putting yourself in somebody's shoes, I feel like sometimes we miss that a lot when it comes to our friends, like people that we're in close proximity to
Yeah.
simply because we're so used to them, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm thinking about support, you know, like if I would have like had a little more time to think when you asked what is something you want to leave, a note that you want to leave, a note that I want to leave on, support your friends.
Hmm.
Support and do it in a genuine manner and do it openly and consistently and like when you support someone, you're not supporting them to check a box, you know?
Yeah.
You're supporting them to make sure they know that we are looking at you, we see you, and we're here for you, you know?
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
something that I've seen is that I've been experiencing, and I've been watching people talk about it on social media, how when you do stuff all the congratulations are gonna come from, like, people you're not that close with or, like, strangers and people you
Yeah.
don't really know, and then when you look at who just saw it, like, who viewed it or something, and
Hmm.
then you see all your friends. It's like, "Oh, here they are." Like, it's like they're all right here, you know? Like, they saw it, they just didn't engage with it, or they didn't let
Yeah.
me know, you know? Like, yeah, support your friends. Support for artists on the scale that we're doing it at. Like, I mean, you've been doing this for a little, like, while, you know? But for me as a newcomer, as an amateur,
Hmm.
people at my level, it's when you're working in the arts, it's so hard to put yourself out there because it's so
Yeah.
vulnerable. Everything you're
Hmm.
doing, especially you being in it, like having conversations with people sometimes that you don't know as well,
Yeah.
that's so vulnerable. And what keeps us going is the support. What keeps us going is our support group, our
Hmm.
community being like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I was looking forward to it. The support that I got with Captive,
Hmm.
that's what made me want to go out and keep doing it over and over and over again, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you don't have that type of support, it feels like it's like, why am I doing this? Like, it starts to feel like either shameful or it can feel embarrassing.
Hmm.
Anybody out there watching this podcast and that's gonna see this, please support your friend and don't feel slighted by supporting your friend. Don't feel like it's like a job. You should want to support them. You should feel good about somebody thinking that you are a fan of theirs. Like if that is your friend, you should feel happy and proud that
Yeah.
you know you're pouring into them. You know, don't take it as a slight or check your insecurities. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just yeah.
100%. You've touched on it right, and that's what I was thinking. The insecurity thing, like
Mhm.
to like to not be thinking it's embarrassing or cringe to kind of be a fan, not a fan, not even a fan, but just like a big supporter of like your
Big
friend's
supporter.
activity. Yeah, you should
Mhm.
be, and you never know. Like again, doing it genuinely, and this is not the reason for that, but like I've seen so many, like when people do hit it and make it, they're
That's
always
what we were
like,
talking about. We're talking about your
these are my real ones. They stay me
yeah.
through the low things and they support me
Mhm.
through the highs too. This is the he's a real one. She's a real one. Like they're going to stick around. You never know. I'm I'm very lucky. My friendship group I think are amazing. Like best group of friends I've had for a long time, and they are all like that. So thank the universe that they do that.
Yeah.
We all support each other. But I know there's many friendship groups that don't, and because they might think it's cringy to do such a thing, or
Yeah.
I know you say check a box, but like people won't even like if someone is doing media creation stuff, they won't even stop to watch their friend's video for 30 seconds. They'll be like, oh, it's them. Next.
Yeah.
Might not even need like my. I know that's more checking a boxy, like liking it or reposting it, but like they don't even go to them levels of supporting their
Mhm.
friends. Like you were just saying, like the strangers will do more than a friend will do for their content or for their passion project and that kind of stuff. If your friends are, putting their piece of artwork in a exhibition, go look at it. Go spend time on their opening. Go there and go look at that. If
Ask them
they're
questions about it. Really immerse yourself
Yeah,
in what they're doing, you know?
that's curiosity as well. It's part of that, and just have
Mm.
imagination, curiosity, and I think again it might also play into Sonder. Like some people get so wrapped up in their own head about their own selves, about
Mhm.
how they're
Mhm.
perceiving, they forget that other people are out there that you can again live life through them by their experiences and asking
Yep.
them questions and learn about their life. So yeah,
No.
I 100% agree. Be more human, be more authentic, be more genuine, support your friends and family members. And I think that is probably the most wholesome final takeaway that we've had so far on the Sonderverse show. So I appreciate it, Garmunee.
Yes, and I wanna shout out all my friends. Thank you guys. You guys are support I'm not calling you guys out. Just I'm
Everyone,
like
yeah.
I have a great supporting cast like
Hmm.
right backing me as well. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're in touch now. So, you never know. We can stay in conversation. I am playing with the ideas of maybe making a second channel because the idea of this kind of beautifully ends now in a way,
Mhm.
like this season, this series. I'm going to move on to a next episode with someone who's new and then figure out through communication. So, but I've been flirting with the idea of creating another channel where I could get people back again and find out about updates, how's things going, progressing, or even if you have different passion projects that we never got time to talk about on this episode. So we're connected now, and I'm so glad that we did. I've loved learning all about your life, your story, where you're going with things, and I'm wishing you all the best with the career to begin with the teaching. Hope everything goes well there, but also the future aspirations, whether it's with film, theatre, and other things as such. And yeah, I can't wait for you to watch this back. I know you might cringe, but hopefully you do watch it back. But also for your friends and families to watch along too, and any other parts of the audience that join in. And thank you very much for such a thoughtful takeaway for the rest of the audience. But it's been amazing speaking to you, Garmunee. And if there's anything I can link down below in the comment description, all that kind of stuff, I will do that.
Okay.
And I look forward to following where things go with you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. This was so fun. Like, this was a really nice, genuine conversation that I haven't had in a really long time. So I appreciate this. You have a great setup, and the concept of your podcast is amazing. Like, I'm gonna tune in for sure, and I'm gonna go
Appreciate
follow
it.
you on Instagram. So be
Yeah,
on the lookout.
definitely. We'll sort
I'm
that
gonna go
out.
follow everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Okay, well, this is season two finished. We'll see everyone in season three when we've got a new guest, someone that I know. But for now, that is the end of season two. Thank you very much for closing this out, Garmony, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes.
See you soon.
See you.